r/AskReddit by Reddit. What fact sounds legit, but is actually fake? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Enjoy the video. The US $2 bill is no longer printed for circulation, and as such has been hoarded by collectors. Because it's been hoarded, it's extremely valuable. $2 bills are still being printed, though none will be printed in 2020 because there is enough supply of them to meet what little demand there is. Since they are hoarded by collectors, and money collectors are really the only people who want multiple $2 bills, there is almost no extra value in them. Basically, anyone who wants $2 bills has a stockpile of them already, and anyone who wants one and doesn't have one can easily get one from a collector or even your local bank. Since no extra value exists in them over their $2 face value, many hoarders are willing to part with a bill or two. Carbon monoxide is heavier than air, so put your detectors close to the floor. The first people to die of CO poisoning are the ones lying down. Reality, CO is about the same density as air. In fact, it is actually slightly lighter than air, so it doesn't matter where you put your detectors. This myth likely started because CO fatalities are most likely to occur while people are sleeping because they are not aware of the symptoms of poisoning, i.e. dizziness, nausea, etc., versus those who are awake. Also might come from animals being affected first, or little kids. It's not actually because they are closer to the ground, it's because they are smaller, should be obvious, but might feed the myth. TIL, keep small kids around as CO detectors. Eating carrots improves your eyesight. This nugget of false wisdom originates with World War II Allied propaganda and its efforts to conceal a technology from the Nazis. One of the ways the British defended against bombing raids was by holding blackouts to make it harder for incoming planes to find their targets. At the same time, the Allies were curiously good at shooting down German planes despite the blackouts. This needed a cover story because it's, incoming pun warning, blindingly obvious that small mobile aircraft are slightly harder targets than large stationary factories and cities. Hence the explanation that defensive gunners were supplied with a diet high in vitamin A to promote good night vision. Hence carrots. It's true that vitamin A deficiency can contribute to vision loss. The public garbled this into a notion that excess vitamin A intake imparts supervision. Actually, what adequate vitamin A mostly does is prevent the cornea from excessive dryness, which can be one cause of clouded vision. The myth about carrots persisted in popular culture long after radar stopped being a classified technology. Astronomer here. Stars that don't twinkle are planets. Twinkling has to do with the stability of the atmosphere more than anything else. That's why even stars will look rock steady on a cold, clear night on a mountaintop, little air movement going on compared to a muggy night in the city. Now planets, the argument goes, are not point sources due to their distance, and not as susceptible to bad seeing due to the atmosphere. We legit call atmospheric transparency that in astronomy. However, if you look into it, only Venus and Jupiter are close enough to be bigger than point sources from Earth. So you'll never be able to figure out if it's, say, Saturn from this method. Second, I see Venus and Jupiter twinkle all the time. Venus often twinkles because you usually see it near the horizon, so more atmosphere for the light to go through, and these days most of us live in cities with bad seeing, so you'll see Jupiter twinkle just like a star. So TLDR, while planets don't twinkle, may work for Jupiter and Venus under good conditions, it's really more an exception over the rule for most of our lives. To end on a positive note, Venus is really bright right now at sunset. If you want to see a planet, go out a half hour after sunset and it's the bright star in the west. Make a note on if it twinkles or not. Close bracket. Snakes unhinge their jaws to eat prey, and that's why they can eat things many times larger than their heads. Nope. Snake jaws don't unhinge, though they are very flexible and capable of moving in very odd ways. What actually allows snakes to eat such large prey is the fact that their jaw is split at the chin. It's connected by muscle, which allows them to move each side separately from one another. If you want a way to visualize that, think of the Covenant elites from Halo Jaw, but slap some muscle in between the halves to loosely connect them. That's a snake jaw. Also, in a similar vein, the film Alien was inspired by eels. Eels actually have that creepy double mouth thing. You can look up videos on YouTube, it's super weird and super badass. They open their mouth and shoot a tinier mouth out which then pulls back inside with the prey. American possums are scary/dangerous. They, on rare occasions, can be dangerous, but really they are just scared and trying to get you to leave them alone. They don't have much jaw strength and are unable to carry many of the diseases you have to be worried about with other wild animals. Rabies is the big one here. Sure, it's possible it could have it, so you should still get the shots, but very rare due to their low nat body temp. They are also vital to an area's tick control as they basically hoover them up. And, looking up the stats on it, 90% of ticks that encounter an possum are a snack, leading to an average 5k ticks eaten per season by a single possum. TLDR, squirrels are more dangerous than possums. Natural sugar is healthier for you than high fructose corn syrup. The American sugar industry, once known as the fructose industry, spreads this tidbit every 20 years or so to eliminate competition. Corn syrup and sugar are chemically, in regards to your body, the exact same thing. 20 years ago, they went on about how high fructose corn syrup was healthier than dangerous sugar. 20 years before that, they went on about how corn syrup was the healthy alternative to corn syrup. They tell the truth about the health pitfalls of one, but the truth is, they both have the same pitfalls. The reason they do this is to squelch competition. Once the industry leaders see a competitor starting to get up in size, they roll out the X product is bad, use sex ad campaign. They are well prepped to easily switch between corn and cane, so by blasting out a shocking report that lists all the health negatives of their product, but not their other identical product, they cause the competition to scramble as demand collapses, usually bankrupting them and buying up all their production, so they're ready next time they plan to switch. So, on the salty seas, sailors would bring their own water in barrels for month-long trips. The issue was, before they figured out how to sanitize the water, it would fester in the barrels and become disgusting. One way sailors got past the issue was to use their own bodies to strain it. They would drink a good helping of alcohol, follow it with as much water as they could, and save the dilute urine to drink when they sobered up. Issue was, a lot of ships would have shifts for drinking, since you wouldn't want the whole crew to be drunk at once. If one seafarer went too long without their own urine, they might steal someone else's. Among the more violent crews this led to fights and even some murders. After all, a pirate without his pee is just irate. The term housewarming has its origins in 16th century American agriculture. Prior to Europeans arriving in North America, there were no earthworms as we know them. There were several species of smaller worms, but they were not nearly as effective at aerating the soil, and their castings were not as beneficial to plant growth. Once they had migrated to the New World in soil used to transport seedlings, the primarily agrarian settlers soon realized the advantage that could be had by promoting the spread of European earthworms. Thus began the tradition of farmstead worming. When new farmlands were established by new settlers or newly married couples, friends and family from the nearby farms would gather European earthworms from their own lands and gift them in a worming party. The new farm would thus have healthier soil and increased crop yields, and the entire community would benefit. Fast forward to the Industrial Revolution, and far fewer people were employed in farming. However, people still enjoyed the camaraderie and sense of community afforded by farmstead worming parties. So, they would instead throw housewarming parties. Instead of earthworms, which would be useless in a city, they would bring small gifts to help the new couple establish a healthy home. Eventually, over time, this tradition became the housewarming party as we know it today. It spread back to Europe, and while its origins are largely forgotten, it is still a custom we engage in today. 100% historically accurate. Actually, this is somewhat accurate, as the last ice age wiped out most earthworm species in North America, and European species were introduced and thrived in their place. You eat 8 spiders per year while sleeping, or whatever. Average person eats 8 spiders a year. Factoid actually just statistical error. Average person eats 0 spiders per year. Spiders Georg, who lives in cave and eats over 10,000 each day, is an outlier and should not have been counted. For one person to single-handedly bring the average up by 8, they would need to eat 165 million spiders a day, that is 1910 spiders a second, with no breaks. Thank you for watching Reddit. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more r/AskReddit videos. Share your stories in the comments section below.